everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Leslie from Joleelee Creations, and today we are going to be hacking the Truth Backpack by Cherishing Today Designs to make this adorable clear tote. It's super simple. It doesn't require much. It can be used, the small version can be used on a 12-inch roll of vinyl. We only have a couple pieces of accent jelly vinyl and a zipper and our webbing handle. It's super quick, super fun, so versatile, and I can't wait to show you how to make this. So let's get started. For this version of the pattern, we need our panel webbing, and I have taken the same size as the small panel webbing and I have cut it in half to make my two handle pieces. We need our zipper tape, which is cut to the same as the pattern. We need our zipper end. We need a zipper pull. We need our two zipper accent pieces. We need two side panel pieces. I have additionally cut 4 strips of jelly at 1 inch by 10 1/4. Front body panel, we need a back body panel, and then a sew-in tag if you have one. I first want to start by attaching my handles to my front and back body panels. To do that, I'm going to need my 4 strips that I cut and my 2 handle pieces, and I'm going to work with the front panel. I'm going to flip it over onto the back side, and I'm going to mark 1/8 of an inch just past this little notch here on the main body panels. And I have done that too so that if you choose to do a lining body still, you can still have them on the same spots as I've marked here. So I'm just going to take a chalk pencil and I'm going to mark this line on the back side of the vinyl. And I'm marking on the back side so that when I attach it to the front, I can still wipe it off on the back. So it's kind of hard to see, but I have my line going across here. And then now we need to mark our handle placements. Again, I'm going to mark on the back side so that I could see them when I'm working on the front, but I can remove them from the back. We want to go 3 inches over and 2 1/4 inches down. So I'm just going to line my ruler up and I'm going 3 inches over and 2 1/4 inches down. And I want to mark a line here along the side for my over mark. And then at 2 1/4 inches down, I want to make an L shape. So now I have an L shape here. I'm going to do the same on this side. So now when I flip this over, I have an L shape here on the back, and that is where I'm going to place my handle straps. So right in that little bracket area that we just drew is where my handles are going to sit. And I'm just going to place a small piece of double-sided tape on the back of the handles and attach those to the front side of the vinyl. Just above that line, make sure our handles are not twisted. So now we have our handles attached to the front. And I'm going to add 4 clips to the top of this handle to keep that straight up and down. Now we want to take the strips that we have cut. We are going to line it up along the raw edge of our panel and line up the top with that line that we drew on the back side of our panel. And you should have about a 1/16 of an inch where it hangs off over our strap. So I did the measurements so that we can still stitch at 1/8 of an inch and we will catch our webbing, but it won't stick out the bottom of this tab here. So you should have just a hair past our webbing, and you can either clip it into place, tape it into place, or what I have came to find really easy is a 505 basting spray. And this spray is a temporary adhesive. It doesn't leave any sticky residue on my needle, but if you do have trouble sewing through sticky adhesive, I may suggest getting a piece of alcohol swab or on a cotton ball so that it prevents the needle from sticking. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of paper, and I normally do this away from my machine just so that I don't get sticky on my machine, but so you guys can see how I do it. I'm going to take 2 strips for my panel. I'm going to shake my can, remove the cap, and we're going to do a light dusting motion just a few inches away from the surface. Then I can take my accent piece and line it up right onto this panel here, matching my line on the back. This is able to be repositioned for a short amount of time. So we have that lined up on the front. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to add my second piece on the inside, on the back piece, lining up the raw edges. So that our pieces match up on both sides. So now we have our front and our back panel. And I'm going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch across the top and the bottom of this panel. We can remove our clips for our handle, and if there's any excess on the sides, we can just trim that off to match. So now our handle's attached to our front panel. We need to do the same for our back panel. For this project, the clear heart vinyl is from Zipper Valley. The pink jelly vinyl is from Weft Warp. The pink zipper and hardware is from SiahSwag. And the pink 1-inch webbing is from Amazon. I will link all of the items that I used in the description below, along with the machine and thread that I use as well. Before we stitch on this panel, we can match that up to our previous panel that we made, and just want to make sure everything lines up correctly and that it's even, so that when we connect them together, we don't have one that's off center from the other. So if everything looks good, then we can go ahead and top stitch this accent panel on. When I first started out using clear vinyl, I reached out to the Crafty Reporter for some tips on using clear vinyl, and she suggested to crank up the tension a lot on the top tension for clear vinyl, and that is what I did. I have cranked up the tension almost all the way on the top, and I have lined my sewing machine bed with a Teflon sheet, and that really helps from keeping the vinyl to stick to the bed. We now have our front panel and our back panel assembled. We can start working on the zipper. So I'm just going to put those aside for just a minute. And now we need to work on our zipper. So we're going to turn our zipper down, and we're going to do that by pinching the side of the zipper tape and pushing it over towards the back side. So we should have a little angle where our zipper is, and you can place a pin in that to hold it in place. If you are using a contrasting thread and jelly, you may want to use glue and let that dry so that you don't see the stitches through the jelly. Since I'm using a coordinating zipper tape and thread, I think I'll be okay where you won't see the zipper tape through it. But on the bag that I made before, I had a white zipper and blue jelly over and blue stitching, so you could see that through. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch down the edges of these folds here to hold the zipper in place at that 90-degree angle. Need to trim the edges of our zipper flush with the side of our zipper tape without cutting the zipper tape itself. And heat seal the ends to prevent it from fraying. With our zipper stitched together, we're going to need our zipper accent pieces. Now, I had some trouble cutting out my zipper accent pieces because they're so small with paper pieces. They were just kind of moving all over the place. So I cut it to the length that is specified for this pattern piece. And then, so I have a long rectangle piece with no rounded corners. And I lined it up to the piece that we're going to use it on. And using a pin, I lined it up to the edge. And I marked out that corner on my piece of jelly here on both ends. So it's lined up on the top sides with my clear vinyl piece. Drew on the corner and trimmed that with scissors. Seemed to work a lot better than using a rotary cutter and the paper pattern piece. And we're going to trim off the pin because that's going on the outside anyway, so of our line. So we don't want the pin mark there, and then you will have an exact match of your pattern piece for the piece that you've already cut, and it matches exactly. So that's how I did that. So now we need to add our zipper. And to do that, we're going to make 2 marks again on the back side of our vinyl. We're going to take our chalk pencil, move our straps out of the way, and we're going to make a mark at 3/8 of an inch from the top edge of our panel. And another line at 1/2 inch. So we need a line at 3/8 of an inch and 1/2 inch, and mark that out with your chalk pencil. Flip this over and we have our 2 lines on the back side of our panel. So you can see we're going to separate our zipper tape, and from the left edge of our front panel, we need to mark 1/2 inch in. just above our line at 3/8 of an inch, we want to add double-sided tape. Remove the backing of our double-sided tape, and we want to attach our zipper on the front side of our panel, so right side up and right side up. Line up the teeth on that 1/2 inch mark in the bottom of our zipper tape, and that's going to line up along that line that we drew at the 3/8 inch mark. So we want to make sure here our zipper tape is straight along with our teeth, because if it's any kind of bit wavy here, that will stay. So the straighter that you can keep this line and the zipper tape, the better it will finish. So we have our zipper teeth here lined up on our 3/8 inch line that we drew across the top. Now the same thing that we did for our accent piece, I'm going to do for our accent zipper. So I'm going to take the accent zipper piece, and I'm going to line it up on a piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to spray some adhesive on it. And I chose to use this adhesive so that you don't see the tape line through the jelly. This one dries clear and I wasn't able to see anything through it. So now I'm going to take this piece, and the corners are going to line up with our pattern piece, and the bottom is going to line up on that 1/2 inch mark that we drew on the back with our chalk pencil. So your corners will line up here, straight along the bottom. So our corners should line up here. If they don't, like I said, this has pretty good adhesive, so you can readjust if you need, making sure to keep everything straight and lined up across the bottom. Gonna add a clip just to hold those corners in place. And now we need to top stitch along the entire zipper accent piece. So now our zipper panel and our accent has been added to this piece. We need to add it to our back panel, doing the same method, but we need our zipper to come in a 1/2 inch from the other side, so that when we have them faced wrong sides together, the zippers are on the same end. So we're going to do the same thing, but with our zipper a 1/2 inch from the right side instead of the left. So now we're going to take both of our panels, put those wrong side together, line up our raw edges and our zipper panels. Let's add a clip to hold those together. With our zipper panels and our front and back panels clipped together, wrong sides together, we can add our zipper pull. So we want to do that by adding one side into the zipper first, our other side of our zipper into the pull, align up both ends into the inside of our zipper, and slide our pull on. We want to make sure everything is lined up once our pull is on. And if everything lines up, we can go ahead and add our zipper end to our zipper. We just want to trim everything up at the end and make sure it's flush and even. We are going to take our jelly piece or your zipper tab that you have, and I'm just going to fold it in half on top of my zipper tape, and I'm going to top stitch that on at 1/8 of an inch. Trim off any excess that hangs past the zipper and seal any threads that are hanging off the edge. So working with one side of our panels, we're going to take our side panels and we want to line those up with the shorter edge without our cutouts facing the top towards our accent piece. We want to clip that along the side, and they are going right sides together. So I know it's kind of hard to see, but we have these hearts right side together with our main body panel. We're going to clip one on each side. We want to stitch these side panels down at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Your end stitches where you backstitch should end right at the corner of the box where we cut it out on the side panel with our pattern piece. Now we want to repeat that on the other side with the other side panel. Now we can take our other front panel or back panel, whichever you started with first, and we're going to place those right sides together, lining up the edge of our panel with the top side of our main body panel, and clip that together. And if you want to add a tag in the side seam, now would be the time to do that. So I'm going to clip mine together here. Just going to grab my tag and add that, let's see, facing the front panel, just underneath my accent piece here. And stitch these together using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Heat seal any threads that are remaining. Now we want to line up our bottom edge, which will be wrong side or right sides together. And stitch that together at 3/8 inch seam allowance. The last thing we need to do is to box our corners. Before we can do that, we need to snip in the seam allowance our main body panel along the same line that we have on our side panels. So going right up to those stitches where we stopped without cutting our stitches, we need to cut our main body panel a little flap right along the same line of our side panels. So just 4 little snips, not cutting into your stitches. That will allow our side panels to pop out and line up flat with our bottom panel. So you can see here if there's still a little bit of tension on that corner, we may need to snip just a tad bit more, just to allow that bottom panel to meet up. So again, just like our regular boxing corners, we're going to pull our side panel out, line it up flat with our bottom seam, butterfly open our bottom seam, and add a clip. Then we can work towards the edge, making sure that lines up. And then the side edge here. And we can do that on the other corner. So pull our side seam out, stretch out our bottom flat, and push these two lined up together with our bottom seam butterflied open. Can add a clip to hold everything in place. And now we need to stitch those at a 3/8 inch seam allowance, which will be right in that little crease of the boxes where we cut out on our side seam and our bottom panel. Flip our bag around and we need to stitch this side closed. Now we can unzip our zipper and turn our bag right side out. You can use a blow dryer if needed, but with this TPU vinyl, I haven't really had any issues like I did when I was using the regular PVC vinyl. That was really rough to work with, and I definitely won't be making that investment again. I just don't think it's worth it. I know small shops right now are having a hard time keeping it in stock. So I went on Amazon and I found some, and I just was not happy with the quality of it at all. So I don't suggest wasting your money on any of the PVC vinyl. It left a lot of dents, dings in the bag, and I just don't think it's worth the hassle of making a whole bag just to be unhappy with the finished product. So just wait for the small shops to come out with the vinyls. I know that they're going to be carrying a lot more soon, so just be patient. There's plenty of time to make these. You can go back on this bag as well and add binding if you need to give it a little bit more structure or a pop of color. But I think just rolling out these edges, taking the time to really pinch them together, I think maybe even grabbing a seam roller and seam rolling them will help. But we have our cute little bag now that is the Cherishing Today backpack converted to tote. I really hope you enjoyed my hack for this bag. I absolutely love it, and I see myself using this way more than a backpack. So if you try out this version of it, please let me know. Tag me in your makes. I'm Joleelee Creations on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, and we have a group, Creating with Joleelee. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel, and you'll get notifications for other videos like these. Thanks, we'll see you soon.